Привет всем, это Барабанный канал, и сегодня у нас в гостях мистер JP Bouvet. Привет, JP.
My pleasure.
Мы очень рады тебя видеть снова здесь, с нами, на этом кемпе. Спасибо, что ты с нами, спасибо, что делишься с нами такими драгоценными вещами. Это действительно помогает нам осознать всю глубину и полноту современного драминга. И в связи со всем этим хотелось бы задать тебе пару вопросов. Последние новости. Я знаю, что ты был в туре, Акс-тур, и я бы хотел немножечко поинтересоваться у тебя одной вещью. Да, часть того, что было в туре, ты уже рассказал в своем видеоблоге, но хотелось бы узнать, может быть, твои личные мысли, переживания или те уроки, которые ты извлек из вот этого тура, и можешь ли ты поделиться с нами этими мыслями?
All right. Yeah, Sasha.
Yep.
Happy to be here, man. Thank you for everything. The Generation X tour was a very special experience for me. It was, at this point in my career, it was the highest profile gig that I've done. It was the biggest audiences I've played for. It was the longest show I've done, and it was probably the most high pressure show I've done, I guess. And I ended up on the gig because a good friend of mine, Matt Garska, was the original drummer. He started to have some pain in his wrist because he had just done the Animals as Leaders album. He'd been playing, they did 12-hour rehearsals every day for this tour. So it was pretty brutal on the endurance side. So at some point he started to have some pain. He didn't want to risk, hurting himself because he has more stuff going on when the tour's done. So he knew that I could handle it. So he recommended me. Steve called me, and I showed up. Started learning the songs as quickly as I could, and took over in about 2 days. So it was a major, it was a rush for sure, because I had to learn a 3.5-hour show, 5 different guitarists, in 2 to 3 days, really. And as far as like things that I learned from the tour, I think that's the best thing I can offer anyone watching, is like what was important in the tour, really. So the first thing, obviously, having to learn it very quickly, it really helped that I could listen to a song, write what was happening, and then read it back and play it correctly the first time. And a lot of people think like reading music is such a difficult thing, but if you were to look at my notebook, it's really basic. It's counting bars, so I'll write A section, 8 bars, and then like the kick and snare pattern. And if it's open hat, I write OH. If it's ride, I write R. I've developed my own little shorthand to make it as concise as possible, so I can look at a few letters and know exactly what's going on. So that was a major part of it. And I had done a lot of that reading jazz charts when I played in big bands in Minnesota. High school big band, Berkeley did a lot of reading. Honestly, I don't read a lot anymore nowadays, but when I have to learn something, the skill is still there. It's not something I'm going to forget. Because drum notation is not that complicated, so if you put some effort and time into it, you'll figure it out. So that was really important, that was cool. And then everyone has their different styles, so I think one reason that I ended up being a pretty good fit for the gig, actually, is that I've always been into different stuff. I went through metal phases, I went through jazz phases, Dave Weckl, fusion, Vinny stuff, a Jojo Mayer phase. So I've played in tons of bands, tons of projects, and I felt pretty ready for the gig because some of the stuff was really double bass heavy with Yngwie Malmsteen. Steve Vai's stuff was just like really hard-hitting rock stuff, which I'd done an album beforehand that kind of, I feel like, prepared me for that. Tozen's stuff is kind of like almost fusion-y. There's a little bit of a jazz element in there, so that came really natural to me. So over my life, I'd studied a bunch of different types of music only because I wanted to. I was genuinely interested. So when this big tour came together with all these different styles, I felt like I was actually really well prepared to do it. But I'm not saying you should necessarily study all the styles. I'm just saying do what you want to do. I wanted to study all the styles. So I did, and a gig came my way that was, suited for that. But if you really couldn't care about, let's say, Latin jazz, don't study Latin jazz. Unless you're like, oh, I want to learn Latin jazz so I can have good foot coordination or good foot independence, that's a means to an end in a sense. But if you're like, my teacher told me I should study jazz or Latin jazz just because, and I hate it, you're never going to really be into it, so you're never going to learn it right. So do what you honestly want to do. You have to be excited about it. And the world has a way of sort of placing you into the right gig because you're prepared for it. So yeah, I feel like I ended up being pretty well suited for the gig. And I learned a ton on a personal level, on a business level, on a drumming level. There was so much. These guys are some of the most successful guitarists in history. So it was really cool to just be around them and observe the special something that they have, because they all have a special something that made it clear to me why they were where they were. It was different for all of them, but there was an unbelievable confidence to them that I was really inspired by. And it wasn't arrogance, it wasn't naivety, it was just they've been doing what they do for decades. And they're to the point where they don't think about things being wrong. They just go do them. They just go, they're like, here I am, this is what I do. Almost on accident, this is what I do. And they don't even think twice about it. And it's amazing, it's on a really high level. So I was really moved by that. I thought that was really cool. So I'm trying to bring that into my life and just address whatever I'm doing with utmost confidence. So that was one lesson. And then I was just trying to fit in. I was the new guy, I came in halfway through the tour. People were kind of skeptical about me being able to learn the set quickly. And then luckily, pleasantly surprised when I did. So I was just kind of trying to be in the background, blend in. When people asked me to play their music a certain way, I would happily oblige. I wanted to play it the way they wanted me to play it. So I wasn't trying to force my style into things that it didn't need to be in. So yeah, I was just trying to be, invisible, be everyone's drummer, and hopefully when they're playing, they kind of forget that the new guy's there and they're just like, yeah, it could be my drummer, So yeah, that's it. And it was great. It was a great experience. Made some new friends and played some cool shows.
Есть ли что-то в твоем сердце сокровенное на сегодняшний день, то, чем ты хотел бы поделиться с нашей публикой, с нашим зрителем?
I don't know. Yes. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to become a better version of myself, and I'm always trying to live a happier life. So, I think last time I was here, a year and a half ago, we did an interview as well. At that point in my life, I was more focused on technical aspects of life and thinking, for me to become a better me, I need to get better at the drums, better at French, better at teaching. It was like technical skills, external things I was getting better at. And over the last couple of years, there's been a shift happening where I'm realizing the importance of the internal stuff. So, how do I put it? I'm trying to become better on the inside, which is it's a really fun and interesting thing because no one can gauge your progress except you. So I'm trying to be, and it sounds cheesy to say, but I'm trying to be at peace all the time. I'm trying to be in the moment. I'm trying to really just let my creativity and my real self just flow out. And I'm trying to just be at peace, And that goes for everything. When I'm playing the drums, my goal right now, isn't really to be able to do crazier stuff. It's that when I play the drums, I want to be in that childhood, happy, just that feeling of absolute joy. You know, I don't want to be self-conscious. Oh, am I playing it right? Is this cool enough? Did I mess up? Like, that's what I'm trying to just remove completely, the judgment of what I'm doing, and just love the fact that I'm doing it. So that's the biggest thing, is just trying to really appreciate everything on a deeper level, you know? Being here with you, a new friend, meeting all these new friends who paid money to spend days with me, entrusted me with their education. It's a really beautiful thing, and it's a really cool. I'm very lucky to be coming to this new city and just get a little glimpse into a different culture, you know. And that's why I love. Maybe the main reason I love doing what I do. You know, I teach the drums, and that's cool, but you can learn drums in a lot of places from a lot of people. So for me, what's really special about it is the connection going on between everyone. So yeah, I'm just trying to, you know, be at peace and live a life full of love. Yeah, I've been reading, if anyone wants to check out some really good books, The Power of Now is really good. Effortless Mastery has some really cool ideas about, well, it's pretty self-explanatory, effortless mastery. So you're learning to do what you do effortlessly, and that just involves removing all the judgment and on all the self-consciousness. That's the goal. So yeah, I'm just trying to do, you know, get on that kind of page. So those books have been really cool. There've been a couple others, but I can't think of them at the moment. But yeah, I'm just open to that kind of stuff right now. And at this point in my life, it's really what I need. So it's really cool. Feels good. And my drumming is getting better accidentally because of it. Yeah.
Спасибо за то, что ты приехал к нам и за то, что поделился такими важными, дорогими для всех нас вещами. Я надеюсь, не последний раз видимся. И надеюсь, не последний раз ты здесь, у нас в гостях, на нашем канале в частности. Ну что, до новых встреч. Увидимся.
Thanks for having me, Sasha.
Спасибо тебе. Всем пока. Peace.